I find myself in a business marriage with Lin Kuang. Yet we are hardly acquainted. To be precise, we have never met face to face. By chance, at a soiree, I discovered him using me as a pretext to rebuff an ardent admirer. Apologies, but my esteemed partner has a rather sensitive nose and is allergic to the pheromones of other omegas. Standing this close to you would necessitate a thorough cleanse upon my return, and I fear that exertion might leave me too fatigued to sign your company's contract. I was taken aback, preparing to voice my indignation regarding the tarnishing of my reputation, when I noticed him frowning at me and retreating with considerable distance. You, too, please maintain your decorum, Ami. 01. I harbor a disdain for spring. As a sufferer of pollen allergies, there are scarcely any days when I can breathe freely. Already beleaguered by dizziness, the added burden of fever renders it a miracle that I can remain upright. Logically, during such a peculiar season, I ought to remain at home, rather than attend some nonsensical gathering. Yet I found myself there, with 2 masks adorning my face and 2 patches affixed to suppress my symptoms. I embody the archetype of a modern, ambitious omega. No one is more tenacious than I. Could that be the young master of the Xia family? He certainly bears a resemblance. I thought he was married? What is he doing here? Shouldn't he be lounging at home, waiting for the money to roll in? I cast a fleeting glance at the 2 individuals whispering beside me. Having recently returned to the country, my circle is limited. Those whose names escape me are likely inconsequential. That I merely wish to correct their misconception. It is a union by arrangement. There is a distinction between a marriage and an alliance of convenience. The former entails genuine affection, while the latter merely involves 2 functional entities. I possess no beloved, only a partner of utility. Moreover, if marriage necessitates becoming the sort of ineffectual individual he describes, then the covenant of matrimony is indeed a far more daunting prospect than bankruptcy. Just as I was preparing to engage him in earnest discourse, he suddenly glanced over my shoulder. Instinctively, I turned to follow his gaze, blinking slowly. The meticulously tailored lines of his suit, the crisply pressed collar of his shirt, and above that, the elegantly defined jawline that I in an instant. He was mere inches away, then brushed past me. Oh, who is this person? I stood momentarily stunned, watching as he strode past without a sideways glance, signing his name at the reception desk. Lin Kuang. The individual whose name is inscribed alongside mine on the marriage contract. 02. 2 months into our union, he and I have yet to truly interact. His original betrothed was my sister. My sister, a free-spirited and unrestrained individual, expressed her aversion to the match by permanently marking herself with another. Consequently, the family sought my assistance in a moment of crisis. On that day, neither Lin Kuang nor I were present. I was abroad attending my graduation ceremony, and for reasons unknown, he also failed to show up. All formalities were handled by our respective assistants. This was our first encounter, and it was only proper to extend a greeting. However, this greeting proved elusive as he was surrounded by a throng. The thickness of his mask rendered any scent undetectable, yet the sight of them huddled together was somewhat suffocating. At the center of this gathering, Lin Kuang remained composed, gracefully declining advances with an air of practiced ease. After what felt like an eternity, as the crowd began to disperse, I finally managed to approach him. I overheard him, addressing a persistent suitor beside him, say, "I apologize, but my partner has a rather sensitive nose and is allergic to certain pheromones. If you stand that close, I'll have to spend considerable time scrubbing myself clean when I return, and I might be too fatigued to sign your company's contract." Wait, does he have another partner? No, the assistant had provided me with a report indicating that Lin Kuang was a paragon of virtue, devoid of any scandal. So, was the sensitive nose referring to me? This was slander, defamation. My nose is blocked. My intended greeting transformed into a demand for clarification. Just as I opened my mouth, he turned his head, and our eyes collided unexpectedly. "You as well," he remarked, his brow furrowing slightly. "Please conduct yourself with dignity." I was taken aback. It took me a couple of seconds to realize he might not have recognized me due to the mask. I quickly removed it, but he remained indifferent. Oh, there was another layer. I tore it off again, yet his expression was still unchanged. "Lin Kuang." I incredulously pointed at my face. "You don't recognize me? I can see you, but please refrain from showcasing your looks in such a manner," he retorted with righteous severity. I was utterly flabbergasted. Lin Kuang did not even know what his betrothed looked like. This revelation astounded me. After the initial shock faded, I regained my composure. This indicated that he did not care about the individual herself but was solely interested in her lineage and the benefits that the union could yield. He displayed a keen awareness of his role as merely a tool, a competent partner. My admiration must have been evident, yet his brow furrowed even deeper as if he were evading some dreadful calamity. He raised his hand to cover his nose, retreating several steps in haste. Where was his poise? Where was his decorum? I longed to witness his expression upon learning my true identity, but alas, I could not. My assistant's monitoring bracelet suddenly emitted a loud alarm. This signified that my pheromone levels were soaring, and the 2 suppression patches were no longer adequate. 03. There may be individuals in the venue with pheromone compatibility levels highly attuned to the young master. Even if the scent is undetectable, the body can still sense it, hence the failure of the suppression patches, my assistant explained as he administered 2 injections. Gradually, the rising heat within me began to subside. However, it was clear that the evening's festivities could not continue. Remaining in this condition would be overly offensive to the other attendees. TSK. In comparison to a morally upright individual like myself, those who carelessly exude pheromones in public are simply repulsive. I cursed inwardly. Just as I was about to make my exit, a dialog box suddenly appeared on my communicator. Your name is on today's guest list. Have you arrived? Glancing at the top of the message, which bore the name Ling Kwang, I found myself momentarily stunned. Are you looking for me? On the other end, he was typing away, and a lengthy message soon appeared. Yes, I was hoping to take this opportunity to meet you. However, I encountered a bit of a situation and must leave now. I will be quite busy afterward. Let us meet at the next family gathering. I was taken aback, but I chose to put aside my surprise at his desire to meet. As adults, it was only courteous to inquire first. Is everything all right? Is it serious? Nothing major. After a considerable pause, Ling Kwang continued. I was briefly entangled with an exceedingly unpleasant pheromone, and my body reacted rather strongly. But rest assured, I have already extricated myself from the situation. Oh, it seemed we were both having a rough time. Wait a moment. My forehead twitched as I glanced at my assistant, who blinked back at me. Young master, it's probably just as it sounds. Damn it, what audacity. He dares to say my pheromones are unpleasant. An amber scent, exquisite and unparalleled in the world. Moreover, how could it provoke such a strong reaction if it was so repugnant? My assistant interjected. Individuals of your caliber can withstand the interference of common pheromones, but are helpless against those with a high compatibility. Ling Kwang and I had not had the opportunity to undergo a compatibility test, and since we had no intentions of producing heirs, I had not given it a second thought. I ground my teeth in frustration, pacing back and forth in the break room, brimming with indignation. Arrange a meeting with Ling Kwang, regardless of the means. Insert yourself into his schedule as soon as possible. Understood. Also, use the name of the company I founded while studying abroad. Do not reveal my identity. That company was a mere shell of its former self. Once co-managed with my ex-boyfriend Suhee. How dare he call my pheromones unpleasant? I shall make him regret it. 04. I encountered Ling Kwang again a week later. He had just disembarked from a long-haul flight, visibly fatigued. Upon hearing that there was another business meeting awaiting him, he paused mid-motion as he loosened his tie, turning to confirm with his assistant. His assistant hesitated, stammering, "It seems there was a scheduling error. It's too late to cancel now, and the other party is already waiting for you in the conference room." Understood. Ling Kwang tightened his tie once more and strode purposefully toward me. I quickly shut the door and nudged my assistant beside me. "How did you manage this?" He chuckled sheepishly. "I initially intended to hack into the system directly, but I was caught. I thought since their assistant had met me before, a simple excuse might not suffice, So what? I claimed this was a personal matter between you two and instructed him to feign ignorance." Just as he finished, Ling Kwang pushed the door open. His gaze landed on me, and I noticed a slight dimming in his eyes. The 2 assistants, displaying their lack of acting skills, exchanged furtive glances before hastily exiting the room, leaving only Ling Kwang and me. He politely nodded in my direction. "Mr. Su, I need a moment to review the materials. Please have a seat." The documents were outdated, the data convoluted, but he perused them with remarkable diligence. His demeanor in work mode was a stark contrast to the individual I had encountered at the event. As he turned to a few pages, his gaze became pensive, his long, elegant fingers tapping rhythmically on the edges of the paper. I could not help but compliment. "Your hands are quite alluring, much like himself. A ring would look stunning on you." Ling Kwang appeared momentarily taken aback before swiftly closing the materials, his expression neutral, though his tone remained polite. "I find your company's philosophy intriguing, but in terms of developmental prospects." His voice abruptly halted, his throat visibly constricting, and his expression darkened. It seemed he had sensed something. While he scrutinized the report, I discreetly tore a corner off the suppression patch on the back of my neck, stealthily releasing a considerable amount of pheromones. Ling Kuang tossed the materials onto the table and pressed the intercom. Increase the air purification rate. Knowing full well what was happening, I feigned ignorance. What's wrong, Mr. Ling? You seem a bit unwell. Ling Kuang cast a penetrating gaze my way, his brow furrowed. Let us conclude for today. You may leave. Oh, aren't we discussing the collaboration? I see no sincerity on your part. There is no need to continue. The air purifier's effect was negligible, and Ling Kuang's breathing grew noticeably heavier as he irritably tugged at his tie. I observed his transformation with keen interest and, filled with a sense of accomplishment, settled beside him. His body stiffened abruptly. Let us not discuss collaboration. Instead, let us converse about other matters. With a smile playing on my lips, I leaned closer and whispered into his ear, enunciating each word softly. Mr. Lin, with your striking handsomeness and remarkable talents, your romantic history must surely be quite extensive, no? He sprang to his feet, his ears flushed crimson, yet his eyes betrayed an unmistakable annoyance. Mr. Su, I am married. Although it has not been made public, it should not be considered a secret. Oh, I elongated the vowel. I have heard it is merely a marriage of convenience, lacking in genuine affection. You need not concern yourself. My relationship with my partner is quite harmonious. The term partner struck me as somewhat amusing. I let out a soft scoff and stood up in turn. He took a step back, and I advanced, pressing him against the wall, my gaze laden with unabashed intensity. Broad shoulders and a narrow waist, truly a feast for the eyes. The rise and fall of his abdomen with each breath, the slight creases at his belt line, piqued my curiosity. I raised my hand, intending to smooth out the fabric. Halfway through the motion, my wrist was seized firmly. What do you intend to do? His tone was frigid, yet his body radiated warmth. Do not be anxious, Mr. Lin. Maintaining an unflappable demeanor, I placed my other hand over his, my fingertips brushing against his pulse. Unable to suppress a chuckle, your heart races quite swiftly. Before he could no longer tolerate my proximity and shook me off, I released my grip, innocently fluttering my eyelashes at him. I am merely curious about the depth of your relationship. Was your shirt ironed by your partner? Did they select today's ensemble? He has his own career. I do not require him to do such things for me. I paused, momentarily taken aback. I had expected him to continue fabricating excuses. Lin Kuang seemed to have reached the peak of his impatience, activating his communicator with a cold command. Assistant Lin, come in and escort our guest out. Oh, how direct he was in dismissing me. However, Assistant Lin was unable to enter. Mr. Lin, it seems the door's recognition system is malfunctioning. It cannot be opened at present. Lin Kuang twisted the handle twice, only to receive the voice prompt, error, unregistered personnel. Such reliance on technology has its drawbacks. A mere door could not recognize its own employer. Stealthily, I sent a message to my clever assistant. I'll raise your salary when we return. The show had only just begun. I had not yet had my fill of amusement, until I heard Lin Kuang admit defeat to the revolting pheromones stamped upon him. I would not feel justified in the 3 potent suppressants I had previously injected. Mr. Lin, do not be in such haste. I leaned in gently. Oh dear. Look at those veins protruding. He closed his eyes, ignoring my remark. How long will the repair take? The response on the other end was somewhat hesitant. We are still diagnosing the issue. No definitive time frame yet. I can give you a maximum of 5 minutes. The last few words were uttered through gritted teeth, yet still quivered with tension. His reaction was indeed swift and fierce. Well then, let us stoke the flames further. I tore off the suppressive patch. Lin Kuang noticed my action, his pupils dilating slightly. His eyes quickly tinged with a faint red. Stay away from me. How fierce. Startled me momentarily. Oh, but what reward do I receive for being obedient? He gasped in silence, and I feigned disappointment with a sigh. No reward? I am far more generous than you. As I spoke, I pulled down my collar, leaning forward enticingly. Care to take a bite? It would feel quite delightful. His breath hitched, quickening in pace. The warmth of his breath brushed against my skin, sending shivers down my spine, and I could not help but tremble slightly. How peculiar. It felt as though the sensation reached the very marrow of my bones. Shaking my head, I sensed a hint of dizziness creeping in. Lin Kuang's chest rose and fell rapidly as he struggled to summon the electronic check interface. How much do you want? Just name a number. I could hear the grinding of his teeth, the sound of desire. As a male, he instinctively yearned to claim me, to mark me fiercely. Judging by his state, he was likely on the verge of madness. Yet, his personal willpower was still stubbornly resisting. How resilient he was. If I were to demand an exorbitant price, would he still maintain such fortitude? The benefit of our union lay in our mutual understanding. I was acutely aware of his family's financial resources. Upon stating that figure, he was indeed taken aback, his already darkened expression growing even more frigid. I do not recall offending you. Reluctant, are we? I would feel the same, but marking me is free of charge. You need not spend a single penny. Just look at you, enduring in such agony. Is it truly so difficult to admit your defeat to me? I can only offer you half. Lin Kuang interrupted. I have no authority to dispose of the portion belonging to my partner. I was momentarily stunned. He was struggling to control his body, inputting the numbers painstakingly, one by one. But you must also consider I have ample time to earn it back, while you no longer have the youth to enjoy. Beneath the surface allure of desire, there was a resolute and fierce determination in his gaze. I understood the unspoken message. He would not relent. He had countless means to ruin me. Disgraced and embroiled in legal battles, my heart raced, and suddenly I felt as though I had ventured too far. It was time to make a swift exit. Bad news always arrives in succession. My assistant messaged me. We're in trouble, young master. The repair isn't returning. Are you all right? The monitoring bracelet is going haywire. Awakening to the familiar ceiling, I remained in a daze for a while before turning my head to confirm it was indeed my room. I touched the back of my neck. The glands were intact, but my wrist throbbed painfully. My memory was fragmented, and I struggled to recall the events, only piecing together scattered fragments. It seemed the suppressants had worn off, unleashing my pheromones into chaos, and then, cradling my head, I pondered for a long time. Oh, I remembered. Then Lin Kuang had bound me to the desk leg with his tie, and amidst my fading consciousness, I heard a loud crash before everything went dark. That noise must have been the result of a violent breach. How did things escalate to this point? The thought of the family banquet he mentioned made me want to smother myself with the blanket. After half a minute of suffocating thoughts, my communicator rang. I closed my eyes, fumbling to answer, and Lin Kuang's voice emerged from beneath the covers. Xiaoqiao. His voice was hoarse. I quickly withdrew my hand, stammering an ah in response. Even hoarser, there was a moment of silence on the other end, his tone laced with concern. What is wrong with you? My heart raced as I adjusted my vocal parameters. Nothing. Another pause ensued. His hesitance made me somewhat anxious. He could not have already discovered my secrets, could he? Oh heavens, how would I explain? I wish to confirm something with you. He paused again. Seemed this was it. I sighed inwardly. Did your previous relationship end due to external pressure? Yes, it was me. We both spoke in unison, momentarily stunned. I hesitated, tentatively asking, Are you inquiring about my previous relationship? Yes, I want to know if our marriage was a result of familial coercion. It was indeed forced by our families. And my breakup with Sue, he was not amicable, but I could tell that his interest lay elsewhere. What prompted such an inquiry? Do you remember I mentioned last week that someone was harassing me? They returned today, posing as Soo-hee, causing me considerable distress. Thus, I hired a private investigator, only to discover Soo-hee is your ex and he is quite... Well, I felt a surge of tension. And then what? Then I thought, perhaps it was I who disrupted your relationship, prompting him to seek out someone who matched closely with me to retaliate against you. I must admit, his imagination was remarkably vivid. I was curious. If that were the case, what would you do? There was silence on the other end. Forget it. A man with such unwavering morals and a strong sense of ethics will undoubtedly return me to my beloved without hesitation. All right, I was just teasing you. I won't let go. I was taken aback. What happened to the moral exemplar? He could compete with me openly, but he chose to resort to such despicable tactics. I don't believe someone like him is a suitable match for you. Currently, our feelings may not be profound, but once I finish my project, I will reduce my work commitments and move in with you next month. He took me seriously. As misunderstandings began to accumulate, I hurried to clarify. No, I was just joking. I broke up with Soo-hee because he cheated on someone else. It has nothing to do with you. Marrying you was indeed unexpected, but I didn't feel pressured. Oh, I see. I could sense his relief. The topic should have concluded here, yet Lin Kuang hesitated to hang up. Do you have anything else to discuss? Fine. I patiently waited. The worst that could happen is that he discovers that I am the one he finds repugnant. Clever as I am, I had already devised a strategy. To be precise, it was my little assistant's idea. I merely wished to infuse some romance. As partners, I shouldn't place undue blame, right? After a prolonged pause, he said, Xiaoqiao, I want to buy a pair of rings. Rings? Those that mock my bare fingers, making me appear unmarried. Good heavens! When did I mock him? Wasn't that a compliment? Day by day, it seems he cannot feel comfortable without spreading rumors. Of course, if you don't wish to, that's fine. His tone was forlorn, with a hint of grievance upon careful consideration. My heart felt a peculiar mix of emotions. I raised my left hand, gazing at the finger closest to my heart. A ring, though it has yet to be worn. My mind already envisioned it gliding over my knuckles, encircling the pad of my finger. An inexplicable sense of marital reality washed over me. All right, I'll send you my size. 07. Immediately after saying it, I regretted it. Not because I regretted my agreement, but because I lamented handing over such a significant choice to him. What if his taste was dreadful? Would I be ridiculed for wearing it in public? I promptly contacted a friend who designs jewelry, asking him to find me some exquisite new styles. Why not go to the store and try them on? I'll accompany you. After a moment's reflection, I realized that would indeed be more efficient. I called in a family doctor to urgently reduce the concentration of pheromones in my body. Once confirmed to be well, I headed to the location my friend had sent. To my surprise, as soon as I got out of the car, I encountered Lin Kuang right at the entrance. Our eyes locked, and we exchanged silent glances. Before he could display his distaste, I hastily declared, "I am not following you. You're here just then." My friend spotted me and came over, affectionately linking arms with me. I picked a few styles. "Come take a look." Lin Kuang glanced at the two of us, his expression softening considerably. "Are you buying rings too?" "Yes." Upon hearing this, my friend turned around and, noticing Lin Kuang for the first time, expressed surprise. "Oh, aren't you too?" I quickly covered his mouth. The motion was a bit too vigorous, revealing the red marks on my wrist. Lin Kuang's gaze darkened, as if recalling something he wished to forget. His lips pressed tightly together before he finally spoke. "Does it still hurt? I tied you a bit too tightly back then." My friend's eyes sparkled with intrigue. I understood his gaze. "Is this something I can hear?" "He cannot. It would be too embarrassing." Thus, I pushed him into the store, saying, "You choose first. I'll join you shortly." Turning around, I noticed Lin Kuang still standing there, his expression not quite right. "Are you all right?" He pinched the bridge of his nose, asking in return, "Who is he?" I nodded slowly, "Yes, that's good." Lin Kuang placed his hands in his coat pockets, his eyes devoid of emotion. "From now on, live well with your partner and refrain from taking on such tasks again. I understand you were compelled, and I want to pursue this matter further." He still believes I was employed by Su He, serving as a tool for revenge against him. I had only clarified the reason for my breakup with Su He, not this aspect. My friend, peeking from behind, inquired, "Why don't you both come in?" I want to listen. Lin Kuang cast a dispassionate glance in his direction. "I have a few matters to attend to. I will head back first." "Are you okay? You seem unwell." Seeing me move closer, Lin Kuang hastily stepped back 2 paces. "I'm fine." He appeared to be evading me entirely. My heart sank, a wave of bittersweet emotions washing over me. Does he truly despise me this much? I lowered my gaze, focusing on his coat. The sturdy fabric had a conspicuous bulge. After a moment of realization, I understood he was struggling to maintain his composure. His hand in his pocket was likely clenched into a fist, and upon closer inspection, his body trembled slightly. And I was the source of his discomfort. I instinctively stepped back, watching as his car melded into the traffic, disappearing from sight. Is it just my imagination? Or are you two acting strangely? Are you playing some kind of role-play, Xiaoqiao? A hand waved in my line of sight, snapping me back to reality. "What did you say?" I said. "Why are you two so, respectful of each other?" "I know you mean to say unfamiliar. I was just afraid of saying something wrong and making you angry." He wasn't wrong. We were indeed unfamiliar. But what about in the future? Without waiting for a family gathering, I wished to be honest with him now. As I pondered this, Lin Kuang's voice call suddenly popped up. It might be a bit difficult to say. He struggled to suppress his breaths, his voice intermittent. "Can you give me a piece of your clothing, one that you've worn? I'll have my assistant pick it up." Lin Kuang had actually been stimulated by my pheromones to the point of entering a vulnerable state. 08. "Why not just come to me directly? I am your partner." Lin Kuang seemed taken aback by my response, falling silent for a few seconds. "I was worried you might be busy." "I am not busy." I waved goodbye to my friend and settled into the car. "Where are you currently residing?" "I'll come to you." Adults are well aware of what this implies. His breathing on the other end grew heavy, nervousness causing him to stumble over his words. "I'll send you the address." I was equally anxious. Simultaneously, I understood that I could no longer delay. In the upper echelons, there is no freedom. I am still a pawn, and if I do not marry Lin Kuang, I must marry someone else. Rationally speaking, Lin Kuang is the optimal choice. As for the emotional aspect, I personally believe Lin Kuang is exceptional. Strong, composed, capable, with an exquisite physique. He breathes so alluringly, so enticingly. My thoughts were utterly disrupted by the voice coming through the communicator, rendering it impossible to think clearly. I knew he was suffering at this moment and tried my best to divert his attention. How did you cope before? Hyperbaric oxygen chamber, extracting pheromones, administering suppressants. He struggled to keep his voice steady. Recently, the suppressants Haven T been very effective. Damn, his breaths reverberated in my eardrums, sending chills across my scalp. My face flushed instantly. I am almost there. Alright, I'll have the butler meet you. I apologize that our first meeting is under such circumstances. Actually, this isn't our first meeting. Lin Kuang seemed slow to catch on. By the time he asked when have we met before, I had already exited the car, 1 foot stepping inside. Lin Kuang, leaning against the bed, had shed his coat, 2 buttons of his shirt undone, revealing his flushed skin. Upon seeing me, he froze for a moment, quickly gathering his open collar. How did you follow me here? My statement about not pursuing this was not a license for you to waste time on me. Where is the butler? Who let you in? His words came to an abrupt halt. He slowly widened his eyes, his thick lashes fluttering. The butler stood just behind me. During the susceptible phase, his emotions were already in a state of turmoil. At this moment, his chest heaved violently, his face a canvas of disbelief, interspersed with an emotion that I could neither ignore nor confront, a sensation of helplessness. Anger. He was furious. Xie Chao, he exclaimed. Do you find amusement in toying with me? I will explain everything later, I replied, taking a few steps closer, reaching out to assist him in changing out of his shirt and into something more comfortable. My hand was predictably slapped away. Are you satisfied now? He pulled out a suppressant from the nightstand, his gaze frigid. Indeed, I have been ensnared by you. Stop using that. It's clearly ineffective, I retorted. It's none of your concern, he snapped. Why shouldn't I be concerned? I am your lawful partner. Ah, scoffed. To deceive with a false identity, and expect to see the other party humiliated as a legitimate partner? The last 4 words were pronounced with deliberate emphasis, each syllable laden with weight. An inappropriate curiosity arose within me. Why have you suddenly stopped gasping for breath? Your speech is remarkably fluent now. Lin Kuang chose to ignore me, unscrewing the needle cap and preparing to inject himself. I grasped his wrist, and he flinched violently, nearly pricking me. Are you out of your mind? He immediately discarded the syringe, seizing my hand to inspect it. Is the suppressant something you can handle? Ugh, who wants to be pricked with a suppressant? His reaction was far too exaggerated. The marks on my wrist were rubbed raw, and I couldn't help but let out a soft sound of discomfort. Lin Kuang recoiled as if electrocuted, suppressing his ire, and summoned the butler. Take Mr. Xie back. Now that he had referred to me as Mr. Xie, it was truly over. The butler glanced between us, a look of concern etched on his face. Lin Kuang, do you realize what you are doing? Are you trying to sever the contract by banishing your partner during the susceptible phase? His posture momentarily stiffened, his eyes flickering. He quickly turned his head away, rigidly avoiding eye contact. We have not engaged in a substantial relationship, and our collaboration has not deepened. It can be dissolved. I must admit I had quite the temper. At this moment, my voice involuntarily escalated. Do you think you can just end this whenever you wish? Did I go through all this just because of your reckless prattle? What of your nonsensical comments about pheromones? Did you ever consider my feelings? Lin Kuang fell silent. He attempted to speak several times but ultimately swallowed his words. Enraged, I sent a voice message to my assistant. Send over 2 weeks' worth of clothes. Are you planning to stay? Indeed, I responded, looking at him as if it were the most natural thing. Aren't you moving in with me next month? Can't I acclimate to cohabitation a bit early? The contract was still in effect, so Lin Kuang could not oppose my decision. His butler hastily brought in staff to tidy the room, smilingly pointing to one side. Madam, that door can be opened. I walked over, twisted the knob, and caught sight of Lin Kuang's bed. Oh, how convenient, the 2 rooms were connected. Lin Kuang coldly commanded, seal the door. No one heeded his request. After my shower that evening, I donned a bathrobe and sought him out. He appeared decidedly unwell, breathing heavily. Have them bring back the suppressants. They are concerned for your health, I said, sitting at the edge of the bed. If you take more, it will ruin you. He coldly turned his head away, gazing to the side. You need not worry. Of course I must. What will I do if you become incapacitated? Live like a widow? The dilution treatment administered by the family doctor was still effective, but if I lingered, losing control was inevitable. The instinctive behaviors that followed such a loss of control could either deepen our relationship or lead to irreversible deterioration. Some matters should be addressed while reason still prevails. Only then do they hold significance. I rolled onto the bed, straddling him directly. His expression was one of shock, reflexively pushing against my waist. Get off me. Still issuing orders? I pressed my hands firmly against his chest, giving a gentle squeeze. You, what about me? Let us reason this out. After all, isn't all of this rooted in your failure to recognize me? Is it that President Lin is too trusting of me, or does he simply not care? Believing anyone would suffice? No. He lowered his gaze, his thin lips pressing together. I do care. Then it is the Lin family's incompetence that they cannot even find a single photograph of me. That's not it. Then why? My temper flared, my mind buzzing. Why was it so difficult to articulate this question? What was so hard to confess? I desperately tried to reason with myself. No, Xie, it's illegal to murder one's husband. On the brink of madness, he finally spoke. Rather than relying on information that might lead to preconceived notions, I would prefer to get to know you myself. This unexpected answer took me aback. I leaned in slightly, looking into his eyes. So now that you've gotten to know me, what impression do you have? Lin Kuang remained silent, his body temperature steadily rising. After several nudges against his abs, he finally murmured 2 words. Liar. Liar? I paused, laughter bubbling up in disbelief. I did deceive you once. But what about you? How many have you deceived? I mimicked his earlier expression, sarcastically repeating, I have a very good relationship with my partner. Yet here he was, attempting to push the partner with a very good relationship off the bed. You can lie without a hint of guilt. Lin Kuang fell silent. I had hoped that after holding back for so long, he might have something to retort, but instead he simply said, I'm sorry. Getting rid of those people is the most effective reason. His voice was low yet sincere in tone. My anger dissipated instantly. All right, we're even. I am not unreasonable. Knowing when to seize the moment and call it a day is a basic quality. So what are we doing now? Planning to resort to domestic violence? Lin Kuang was gripping my waist, pulling me toward the bed with considerable force. I am nearing my limit. His eyes reddened. He took a heavy breath. You should go back. So all my words had been in vain? He led me to the door, and as he reached for the handle, I swiftly grasped it first. Lin Kuang, think carefully. I was reaching my limit as well. Both my body and my dignity were on the brink. If you push me back, I will immediately seek someone to draft a contract for the dissolution of our marriage. His breathing grew heavier behind me, each breath penetrating my heart. It was maddeningly tantalizing. Lin Kuang, to be honest, I'm feeling quite unwell right now. If you have any awareness as my partner, you should mark me. His voice was muffled, and it took a moment before I could discern his words. No, my heart sank. Damn Lin Kuang. I have never been this subservient in my life. With his weight pressing down on me, I could hardly straighten my back. If you don't want me, then just leave. I summoned every last ounce of strength to struggle, but instead of breaking free from Lin Kuang, I ended up tearing my bathrobe open. Instantly, I was left completely unclothed. As I bent down to retrieve it, my hands were seized by his large grip and pressed above my head. His warm breath danced across my skin, slowly, irresistibly, settling on my gland. Do not dissolve this. In hindsight, that door was indeed meant to protect me. Lin Kuang was knocking again, and I wrapped myself tighter in the blanket, filled with indignation. Can you manage the suppressant? Of course, the protective aspect was negligible. No, my wife. He easily opened the door, pulling me out from under the covers. The overwhelming scent of leather enveloped me in an instant. After being marked by Lin Kuang, my pollen allergy symptoms suddenly abated, allowing me to perceive the pheromones. Ironically, I would have preferred to be congested. Your pheromone scent is quite repulsive. Yes, it's disgusting. Lin Kuang was utterly unconcerned. It will soon cease to be nauseating. My waist hurts. In that case, he shifted his position. My knees also ache. Oh. In that case, he adjusted his stance yet again. I can't stand. Lin Kuang encircled my waist, whispering in my ear, Darling, was it Su He who called you last night? Instantly, I fell silent, having assumed Lin Kuang was in a deep slumber, unaware that he had overheard. After Su He had betrayed his junior, he was subsequently cast aside. Recently, his career had plummeted, as if he were being targeted, encountering obstacles at every turn, prompting the Su family to consider elevating his younger brother. Abandoned, He recalled me, managing to obtain my contact information, and lamented his regrets in tears. At that moment, I had just experienced a delightful release, and hearing his cries was rather exhilarating. This led me to listen with a smile for half an hour without hanging up. My dear, you have quite the social circle. Your ex still cares, while friends are always available, unlike me, who only has you. Are you a dog? Be gentler. My beloved Lin Kuang is a quintessential green tea. This was a realization that dawned on me only after 2 years of marriage. What? You have a goodnight kiss every night? His voice rose in surprise, facing newlyweds who cuddled sweetly even while discussing business. Noting my silence, Lin Kuang let out a soft sigh. Actually, whether we kiss or not matters little. As long as Xie Qiao sleeps beside me, even without a goodnight kiss, I sleep soundly. With an impassive expression, I returned the letter of intent. Congratulations to both of you. How about we bask in your good fortune and raise the profit margin to 10%? Upon returning, Lin Kuang continued to subtly compare. Casting a cold glance at him, he obediently fell silent, quietly sitting beside me after his shower, watching me work. Retreating to advance, lowering his stance to charm me. Such a green tea. I saw through him. TSK, it suddenly feels a bit chilly. He tugged at the collar that was slipping down to his elbows. I stole a glance at his firm, smooth chest. If you're cold, you can go to bed first. Without you, the bed is much colder. I'll come once I finish this page. I was still rather soft-hearted. After a lengthy pre-sleep ritual, I leaned in and pecked him on the lips. Good night. 1 second, 2 seconds. Lin Kuang remained motionless. Is he stunned? I opened my eyes, unexpectedly meeting his obscure gaze. My heart dropped. This is it. Darling, there's no way to say goodnight. This is simply a mental nitrogen pump. Lin Kuang's parents share a remarkably harmonious relationship, still resembling newlyweds after decades of marriage. Influenced by this, he has long harbored a yearning for marriage. The happiest person upon the engagement with the Xie family was undoubtedly him. I have a wife now. On the day of Xie Qiao's graduation ceremony, Lin Kuang cancelled work commitments to attend. They did not meet, as he merely caught a glimpse of Xie Qiao's silhouette from outside the private room. Xie Qiao seemed to have had too much to drink, leaning on someone else's shoulder and weeping. Who could be more miserable than I? 1 foot out of the ivory tower and into the grave of marriage, sobbing. I hope that damn Lin Kuang is perceptive enough not to disturb my career. Lin Kuang stood at the entrance for a while, opting not to intrude, leaving flowers at the door before departing. He was obedient, refraining from interfering in Xie Qiao's life while keeping a close watch on his movements. He heard that Xie Qiao had outshone many, securing a major deal. He learned that Xie Qiao's new company had ascended into the top 10. Truly impressive, no wonder he is my wife. In truth, Lin Kuang had deceived Xie Qiao. He had investigated him and obtained photographs, yet he refrained from viewing them. It was not for any noble reason. He knew himself well. Once the object of his sexual fantasies had a face, he would undoubtedly print the pictures and confront Xie Qiao with them in the dead of night. Lin Kuang occasionally felt aggrieved. Why couldn't he have a close marriage like his parents? That feeling of grievance overflowed after Xie Qiao came into his life. He no longer wished to continue in this manner. He wanted his wife. The end of the text. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and liking to support. See you in the next story.